Hi class. I'm going to show you first how I set up when I want to paint. I have first I have an idea. What does I want to paint? And this is going to be an apple. So I have my scrap, and a scrap is referred to in art as sort of the pieces of samples that you might look at. It could be a drawing, it could be color, it could be different things that inspires you. I have of course, my pad here. I have my colors laid out ahead of my pad on top here. A glass of water. I like the little plastic glasses you get at some of the stores. A little palette here for mixing my colors, and of course I lay out my brushes so they'll be in good place. And this is a mechanical pencil, and these are great. It's a pencil, but I don't have to sharpen it. I just do this, and the lead comes out. So I like this a lot. So to get started, and again, I like the apple. We just got through talking about spheres and different shapes. And the one thing that's really neat about drawing apples is no matter how you draw it and draw the leaf, it's always going to be perfect because every apple's different. You're not like trying to redesign it. So again, I'm going to start with a circle. Here's my apple. So I just draw sort of a circle here on my page. And you'll notice with an apple, it's actually sort of top, like almost like a little bit of a triangle. So part of art is actually just looking at the things around you. So I'll draw a little out here, draw this. So this is now my apple. Flat here, see that? And I've got the stem like this, and of course then my leaf like this. And again, it doesn't have to be, you're not trying to do photorealism. That's why it's called painting, okay? So that's my pencil work, got my drawing. Now as far as, I'm gonna pick my round brush. This is a round brush, okay? I'm gonna wet it out. I'm gonna grab some, first of all, some orange. If you'll notice right through here, this hot spot, that's light, this is orange, this is sort of red, and this is almost like a purple. So again, part of painting is not just sort of reproducing exactly what you see, but it's sort of the impression of it. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to put a little bit of water just all over my area here, just nice clean water. See that? Just kind of wet this out a little bit, like that. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of orange. So just around the outside. See that? I'm just going to do this. See, that's sort of my highlight on my hot spot right there. And I can do this. And as we learned, if I add water in certain areas like this, just add water, I can then take my board and move it around a little bit. See that? And you'll see that I can keep that nice little bright area right there. That's kind of what I'm up to. And then I go back at my orange, maybe a little more orange in here, a little deeper orange. Now deeper, in a sense, means just more, because water is it's called a transparent medium. And then I'll go back over here and get my red, and put a little red in here. See that? And it kind of mixes it. See that? Might even have a couple different reds. Throw some red in there like that. Draw this. Might even put a little bit on the outside like that. Use the point of the brush. Remember I taught you how to do that? Like that. So it's kind of like a red apple. See that? Okay, now I can also move this around a little bit, but see how the water has sort of stayed here. It's sort of let that be the paper. That's my bright spot. Orange then does this. And then I've let this go out here to red. And I'm gonna put this a little bit more red out here. See that? And like I mentioned before, we're learning that watercolors is a transparent medium. Basically it has the water, it's transparent, meaning you see things through it. So adding more pigment, that kind of works. And then I can move it around just a little bit to get it to mix up. So that might be, there we go. So that looks like a red apple. Okay, now I'm gonna let that dry a little bit. I might even put a little bit of purple. I really like purple, the blues and purples for my shadow area. And there's a dark purple in here. You can experiment a little bit of the dark purple, just a little bit down in here, on the edge like that. And what that does, that just gives me a shadow. Now another thing I can do, I can take my my brush. Oh, forgot to also have a little bit of a paper towel here. And I can take my brush and I clean it up and I just rotate it in my paper like that. So if it's a little bit dry, I can move it around like that. So I take the water out to kind of dry it up a little bit, and then I can actually move that paint to have a little bit of a purple in the shadow area, okay? And I'm gonna let that dry. So I got this one area. Like this. Okay. And then I'm gonna let that dry, and I'm gonna do the stem and the leaf, or at least do the leaf. Excuse me. And I notice, and you can, just because you make, see, I kind of painted outside the lines a little bit, so even though you put lines there, you don't have to necessarily stick to it all the time. So a little bit of green. I like to mix my greens. I'll show you here. So when I'm doing my red, I kind of mix a little dark and bright red. With my greens, I mix a little bit of a dark and this color here. I might even put a little bit of yellow. I don't mind mixing them up like that, because I can clean it later. But that yellow with this kind of light, that gives me my light green first. And as I mentioned, you always start with the light green. And it can be kind of fun and quick. There's my stem. Yeah, I kind of like that. I like that little hot spot there too. I just sort of left the paper come through, see? But it could be a little more yellow. So I'll go back into my yellow and put a little more yellow in there. See, I just kind of drab it in there like this, sort of drop it in. And that's more of what we call an olive color. See that? And that does this. And I might put a little bit of dark green, just a couple of those spots in here like that. Now the trick is you gotta have to let this thing dry for a minute. So we'll just do that. And my stem, let's see, is kind of red, a little bit orange. And I'm just gonna put the stem in like this. But what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna touch my other colors down here because it'll bleed into it. So I'm just gonna do that's my stem. I don't know if it'll bleed in or not. Leave it like that. And a little bit of brown on the back, maybe. Just a little bit like that. It's kind of a brown thing. Just a little bit like that on the back of it. Because the light's coming this way. You always get conscious. So the light's coming this way. It's making this bright. Little highlight here on the leaf. The little orange is a little brighter. And now you have to have patience to let this dry. Now in school, I would probably bring I'll bring my my hair dryer in. And that's how we would do it. That's how we do it in class, where kind of funny for me to have a hair dryer when you think about it, but I have this hair dryer and I use this to dry things off. But I'm gonna let this sit because I've got the time. So this is part one of the apple, okay?